payment via our automated service, please press 1. To discuss other payment options, please press 2.
Not paying you
For
a
all
penny.
other inquiries, please press 3.
That's 3.
To repeat these
Hello, good afternoon. You're through to Michelle from Credit Solutions. Can I take your CSL reference number, please?
A reference number you can, yes. It's 96081235.
Okay, that's fine, thank you. Okay, can I ask you for your name?
You can, it's S Page.
Okay, can I just ask you for your first name as well?
It's Stefan.
Okay, and the first line of your address and postcode, please, Mr. Page?
Yeah, before we carry on, I've had a text this morning off John. So is it possible I could speak to John?
Yeah, that's actually just a generic text that gets sent out from my manager. But if you're happy,
Is the manager's name John, is it?
that's correct, yeah.
Oh, right.
But yeah, it's just a generic text that's sent out from himself. But if you're happy to, I can help you if possible.
Alright. Well, could I speak to John? Because he said he needed to speak to me urgently. I don't know what it's about, you see.
Okay, so it's just in regards to Capital One. He's
Right.
also our key account manager. So you know, if I can possibly help you with that.
Well, I'd rather speak to John, as he's the one that sent me the text, and he's the one that says he urgently needs to speak to me, so it must be important.
Okay, bear with me a moment. I'm just going to put you on hold.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Might get through to John. I rang this morning and she wouldn't put me through to John. She's going to go in the office now and see if she can find a John. Sent me a text this morning saying he urgently needs to speak to me. So we'll see what John's got to say. Doesn't look like John's available. Bloody hell, come on, John. I'll skip this bit until she comes back on the phone.
Hi, Mr. Page. Thanks for waiting.
Hello.
Okay, I mean, I won't be able to get John to kind of come on the phone. He doesn't usually deal with the calls. It's just a generic message he does send out to everyone that he wants us to get in contact with.
Oh, he doesn't deal with calls?
He doesn't deal with the calls, but he just sends out the text messages
He just sends out...
the client.
Why does he send out text messages asking me to speak to him then, if he doesn't deal with calls?
It's just a generic message that he sends out for us to kind of to get in contact with ourselves at Credit Solutions.
Alright, but why does he say I need to speak to him? He said I have to speak to him personally.
I'm not entirely sure, sir. It's just a generic message.
I can, if you give us a second, I can read you the text. Hang on a second.
Fine.
Hang on, give me just 1 second. Here we go. Right, I've had 3 from him. The first one said... Oh no, the first one didn't say it was from John. The second one said, "This is John at CSL. I need to speak to you today." And that was sent a few days ago. And then the one I had this morning was saying, it's John from CSL again. I must speak to you urgently, so call me on this number as soon as you receive this message, quoting this reference number. So I really need to speak to John.
Thank you, sir. I said I wouldn't be able to kind of get John on the phone,
Okay.
but I am qualified to kind of deal with the calls. He was happy to go through it with myself.
Is John busy then, or what? Is he busy doing something else? Is he?
John doesn't actually take the calls. So he's our key account manager at Credit Solutions, so he doesn't actually take the calls.
So how can he? It says here that I must speak to you. So surely he needs to speak to me, doesn't he?
So I do understand what it says on the message, but it's just a generic message he does send out to our clients. It is just basically a message to kind of get in contact with our call Credit Solutions, our call centre at Credit Solutions.
Well, he should say in his message really then, shouldn't he, that just call us. He shouldn't say I need to speak to you urgently, should he? If he's not prepared to speak to me. I'd love to speak to him.
Okay, I mean, it's something I can raise, going forward, but yeah, it was just a message trying to get him to contact ourselves. Are you happy to kind of go through the call today with me?
Was it a sneaky message then? Is that what it was? A sneaky message to get me to call you?
It was a message asking to call us back at Credit Solutions. Wouldn't necessarily say what's sneaky. It's in regards to our client Capital One.
Oh, right, okay. What's your relationship with Capital One then?
They're our client, sir.
Your client? What do you mean your client?
I would need to go through security with you to kind of divulge further. Due to data protection, I couldn't really just disclose too much information in regards to that.
Okay, you've already done that though, because I've given you my name and my reference number, and this telephone number as well, which is the texts are coming through to.
So yeah, to complete security, sir, you would need to confirm the first round of your address, postcode, and date of birth to complete security.
All right, is my reference number and phone number and name not enough then?
That is part of the security, but to complete it, you would need to confirm the other things I just stated as well. Are you happy to do that at all today?
Right. Well, I'd like to speak to John and do that with John, because he's the one that seems to want to talk to me so urgently.
Okay, sir. I have advised previously you wouldn't be able to speak to John today, unfortunately.
Right. What if I rang back tomorrow? Would I be able to speak to John tomorrow?
No, sir, because John doesn't deal with the calls, but we are all qualified to deal with, to kind of help you with any kind of queries you did have. If you were happy to go through it at all.
Well, when you put me on hold, where did you go then? Did you go and see if you could find John?
I went to go and speak to my team leader, who advised me that, that over generic message that they do send out.
Right. Is his name John?
No.
No. Have you got anyone called John working there?
I have advised we do, sir, but that's not the account manager.
Right, you've not got anyone else called John then, because it doesn't say his account manager, it just says it's John, so anyone called John will do.
No, sir, that was it's our key account manager that sends out the generic text message to everyone, asking us to call back Credit Solutions.
Yeah. Well, for my own personal protection and security, I need to speak to the person that's asking to speak to me. Do you understand it?
Sir, but you wouldn't actually be able to, unfortunately, today.
Alright, so I'll try again tomorrow, shall I?
You can do so, but you wouldn't be able to speak to John, unfortunately. That's what I was advised previously.
Right. Has he not got a number that I can get hold of him on? A direct number for John in his office?
Okay, so John is our key account manager, so he doesn't deal with the calls now.
But he must have a telephone but nearby, mustn't he?
No, because he doesn't deal with the calls directly. It is ourselves in the call centre that deal with the calls.
Well, what if it was an emergency and someone needed to speak to John in an emergency?
You'd have to go through the agents at the call centre like you've got through to us today, and we can pass them a message, but there wouldn't be any kind of emergency you need to speak to John in regards to.
Alright, well not me personally, I mean maybe his mum fell down the stairs or something like that and she needs to get hold of him quickly.
Okay, I'm sure they would have a contact number for him, sir, but is there anything I can help you with today?
I'd really like to speak to John because he seems so urgent, so desperate to talk to me, that's all, you see.
Okay, I have explained that it's just a generic call. It wasn't just a personal message for yourself. It's just a generic message that you send out.
It wasn't a personal message for myself. Well, it's got my name on it though. That's personal to me.
It's a message for you, but it's a generic message that is sent out, sir. So it's not a personal message, for you to speak to John. It's just a message for you to call up at Credit Solutions.
Right. Okay. So there's no way at all I can speak to John. No. If somebody else sends me a message, then I'll speak to them as long as I can speak to the person. I'll happily speak to the person who's sent me the message, you know what I mean, who's actually named himself in the message.
Okay, as I said, so it is just a generic message, so any kind of text message you do receive would be from John, you won't be able to speak to him.
What's his surname?
We wouldn't give out the surname, so we don't give out our surnames, just business procedure.
You don't give out the surnames?
No, it's just a business procedure that we follow.
Oh, right. So he's hiding behind the first Christian name of John then, is he?
In accordance to our business procedure, so none of us give out our first name, so it's not just John, it's
what do you mean in accordance to your business procedure? What procedure is that? We don't give
out our surnames, sir. It's just a business procedure we have to follow.
Oh dear. Well, I really wanted to speak to John, so I mean, it doesn't look like he's able to talk on the phone, is he? So what if I wrote him a letter? Could I write John a letter? A dear John. Could I write John a dear John?
You could write us a letter at Credit Solutions. I can pass on the address if you wanted to do that. Would you like the address?
No, it's okay. I'm sure I can find it somewhere on the internet. Yeah. So I might send John then just a dear John. How's that?
Okay, Okay.
And then
That's absolutely fine, sir.
get Dear John to ring me. If I give Dear John my number, he could call me then, couldn't he? Yeah?
Okay, if you wanted to find out our details online, that's absolutely fine. You could write us a letter if you wanted to.
Right. I could do that then, that sounds alright, doesn't it?
Okay then, sir.
Yeah.
Is there anything else I can help with at all today?
Well, no, not unless you're going to let me speak to John.
Okay, we have kind of established I won't be able to get you to speak to John unfortunately today, but is there anything else at all that I can help you with? Can I help you take the call at all?
Can you help me what, sorry?
Can I take the call can I actually take the call today, or, I'm qualified to kind of deal with the call if you wanted me to.
Oh, you're qualified, okay, yeah. Yeah, well, you are taking the call, you're talking to me, aren't you?
Okay, but I mean, obviously past security, because I think that's what the call with regards to. Was you interested in doing that at all today?
Security, well, the problem is, you see, I need to speak to, the guy who wants to talk to me is John, and I can't really go through security with anyone other than John.
Okay, that's fine, sir. If you wanted to call back another day or write the letter, then that's absolutely fine, sir. But thank you for your time today.
Okay, I'll call back tomorrow then and see if we can speak to John, okay?
Okay, that's fine, sir.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Okay, well, it's a shame he's not available, because could have had a good chat with John. I'll have to send him a Dear John then. Alright. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
So there's nobody there called John. Well, there is, but he won't want to speak to me.